Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Gray here. Thank you again for another great week in 2026. I'll get right to it next week. Monday and Tuesday have no school, so it's a short week next week. A lot of the things we're doing are a continuation, and I'll talk about it, but that's the really important thing. There's no school on Monday or Tuesday next week. There's a Science Olympiad meeting on Wednesday, January 21st. At Sierra Vista at 4 p.m. I think I sent that out in an email, and it's linked on the email I sent for this week. So if you're interested, go see that. You don't have to be there to participate in Science Olympiad, but it's a great thing to go if you can go. We're going to do Global School Play Day on Wednesday, February 4th. We'll play all day that day. I'll tell you a little bit more about it probably next week, but you can imagine the kids can bring school appropriate board games. That day we'll go outside and play, we'll stay inside and play, so it should be a really fun day. The Jogathon is scheduled for Friday, February 6th. We don't know the exact time yet, but that'll be a day they can bring running clothes for that. And then Irvine Junior Games, there's a sign up. I highly recommend if your kids can participate. The actual games themselves are not until May, but you sign up now. It's really fun. You don't have to be competitive seriously in that athletic event. It's just a fun activity to go and to be a part of. I think I said last time I participated in Irvine Junior Games in elementary school and middle school, so it's really fun. On to reading. We're looking at historical fiction now for the foreseeable future, in the near future. I'm reading out loud a story called Heroes by Alan Gratz. We're using that to anchor our understanding of what historical fiction is. It's about the attack on Pearl Harbor at the beginning of World War II, but it's really a story about these two friends and how they deal with both the difficulty of being attacked and also the difficulty of trust and distrust is what it's about. So we're able to meet these complicated characters. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to do a novel study. We'll do that starting next week. So I'll continue reading Heroes out loud, and we'll read the novel Esperanza Rising. They're set in two different time periods, but are both really great historical fiction books to understand how historical fiction works. So we're going to be doing that next week. The kids are finishing up an independent writing project. They had to pick their own topic, and there's lots of different possibilities from fiction stories to how-to guides, all sorts of things. And they are presenting it to a small group of their peers next week on Thursday. So it's not a situation where they had to completely finish the story that they had originally intended to write, but they're going to present what they have and kind of explain their idea. Some of the kids created extra things like maps or like picture guides that helps with their project also. So they're going to present that on Thursday, so that should be really fun. We're continuing our math unit. This one's a really short one. We're focused on the coordinate grid as well as kind of characteristics of common shapes. And so we're actually already going to take a test. We've been doing it for a couple of weeks. We're going to take a test on that next Thursday. So on Wednesday, we'll have a little bit of review time. And then on Thursday, we'll take the test. If we have time at the end of the week, we'll move on to another coordinate grid project where the kids design something for the coordinate grid, and they have to kind of work backwards so that someone else could follow the coordinates to make their design. That'll be fun. In social studies, we're looking at life in the colonies. The kids will spend some more times practicing the names and locations of the 13 colonies. In a few weeks, there will be a test on those. We're reading about the Salem witch trials, and we're going to maybe start next week learning about the First Great Awakening, which was this really important religious movement in the colonies, and there's some important people involved in that. But the big thing was it was one of the first times where all the colonies thought of themselves as one thing together. It really kind of brought the colonies together, which was happening at a crucial time when they were also quite frustrated with England. And so it really helped bring the colonies together in a way that was like anti-England, which led to some more things coming down the line, as you can imagine. In science lab, they're going to be with Mrs. DeMarco, and we're going to talk about what plants need to survive and answer a couple questions about what both plants and animals need to survive, and what are some ways they get the things they need to survive. We're going to meet with our second grade buddies. We're working on a really fun project where the second graders are supported by our 5th graders. They're writing a looping story, kind of like If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, where the story starts if you give a mouse a cookie, and it ends if you give the mouse a glass of milk, he's probably going to want a cookie, so it like connects back to the start. So the 5th graders are helping the 2nd graders create if you give a mouse a cookie style loop story. We'll play board games in Mrs. Kovac's class, and we're starting to get into some physical fitness testing that will continue happening in January and February, and then also March. On Fridays, the kids are running a little bit of a mile. We're working our way up to running a mile for time. And so last week, the kids ran 1 lap of 6. This week, they'll run 2 laps of 6. And we're kind of working our way up that way until we actually do the test. So there's a lot going on, as you can imagine, but it's a really short week. I hope you all have a really great long weekend. I hope it's restful, and I'll see you back next week. All right. Bye-bye.